when you work as a collective, it's incredibly powerful. And I think the way you and I think about leadership is not handing people a fish, it's handing them a fishing pole and showing them 85 different ways they can use it and encouraging them along the way.
Are you looking to improve your sales without resorting to pushy tactics? Welcome to Sales Made Easy, the podcast that helps you to achieve better sales results and gain long-lasting clients through relational selling. Let's get right into it. Wow, this is incredible. Special treat today, Kevin Hoverman, a longtime friend, business associate over the years from 20-ish. Oh, I want to say 20, but it's really 25 years ago.
It's almost 25 years.
When I first
2000,
met you, Kevin. So
2003.
this is quite the honor to have you on the Sales Made Easy podcast. You and I are just chatting about the normal everyday occurrences in the copier space. So Kevin, welcome to the Sales Made Easy podcast. What's the good word, sir?
Thank you for having me, Harry. Appreciate it. It's a beautiful day today. Felt like fall for the first time here really felt like fall for the first time here in Carolina. Literal frost in the pumpkin. So, good to chat with you. And I can't believe it. 2003, Harry. That's when we met. 2003. Can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, incredible. So you and I, you actually started before me in the copier channel for the company up in New England, but you and I met in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We had a lot of fun along the ways. You and I both got into sales leadership around the same time. What was different back then for you in sales leadership compared to where you are today, 20 plus years later, would you say?
Uh, a lot is the same and not enough has changed probably. I think I'm in a different spot than where I was, but I think you and I both became sales leaders because we were pretty good salespeople and we didn't leave, right? Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Right? Like we were achieving our numbers and other people weren't. And so when managing changes happened or we grew, is what happened where we were, right? The company started growing. We were there. And I think the approach then, particularly in the sales world, was if you are doing really well at sales, you know what you're doing, you're a leader, go tell everybody what you're doing. And I think we probably had a very similar experience to how we ended up getting tapped to be a manager of some type, right?
Yeah, it's very common is take top performers and totally wreck their lives by putting them into sales management. So
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I failed miserably my first go around because I inherited a team that just many did not want to be there. And so that was a problem. And then trying to figure out who was going to be there, who wanted to leave, helping people out the door, hiring people. All of this was like completely foreign if you're a salesperson and you're watching other leaders, but it's not like this is your everyday thing. So is that a challenge for you as well?
Um, the hardest part for me was so I inherited as a team as well. I think I was 24 when I got promoted, and I had some folks on my team who were not 24, who were 20, 30 years my elders.
Yeah.
And trying to tell these guys who I looked up to, still looked up to, but were like the guys sitting next to me that I would go to and ask questions, and now I'm supposed to tell them what to do was a hard transition for me. But the biggest challenge was, you mentioned it, was recruiting. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to interview people. I probably asked a bunch of illegal questions back then. I think the statute of limitations has
Yes,
elapsed on that, you know,
I'm with you
because
on that.
I didn't know,
Right.
right? I didn't know. And I don't want to say I didn't get any training, but the training was sort of like, hey, how do I do this? And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Will you just go see X, Y, and Z or pick up this thing and follow that manual? I don't know. So there was a little bit of managing by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Um, I was fortunate in that my tenured folks were super willing and open to trying new things and being coachable and learning. And so they let me say, "Hey, would you be willing to try this?" And they'd go try it. They were open to it. And I got lucky in that, my first couple hires, Pablo, right? One of my first
Mm,
hires,
yeah.
who ended up just being an incredible human first, a good salesperson second, and I got lucky.
Yep.
But also had some really good mentors. We were lucky. We had some really good mentors, and we were part of what when I look back on was almost like a kind of like a sales heaven. I didn't know how
Yeah.
good we had it. Even in spite of that, we worked for a company that did send us off for training eventually,
Yeah.
and continued to invest in us and was really, really open to us trying new things.
Yeah. I've
And I knew
always,
that I
I'm
could
sorry.
pick up the phone and call, somebody and say, "How do I do this?" And they weren't going to make me feel stupid. They were going to help me
Mm,
do it.
yep. You are always really good at trying new things. You always had an open mind, always looking to improve. And I had the privilege of actually working. You were my sales leader for a while. And that was, there was just very, it was a cool thing because you were open minded. I was always, I mean, I was still new in sales relatively. I mean, uh, and it just was a great experience to have someone who was open minded enough to try new things and wasn't so overly concerned. Not that quota doesn't matter. I don't want to offend anybody, but the numbers follow if you're doing the right things was always my belief. But yes, that open mindedness to try new things and you setting, really taking the lead, which is a really challenging thing at times because you have to be humble. People use the word authentic, but you can make mistakes pretty easily when you're trying new things. So what gave you the courage to go out and try the new things, the new technology, different approaches, without necessarily fearing that you might look silly or something?
I think a lot of it comes from, my family unit growing up. So both my
Mm.
parents were teachers.
Ah,
My dad was an English teacher, high school English teacher. My mom was a high school chorus teacher. They both changed careers. My dad taught for 17 years and then went into sales. He was also a wrestling coach. Started the
yeah.
wrestling program at my high school. He's in the New England Wrestling Hall of Fame. But after 17 years of being an English teacher, he went into pharmaceutical sales.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I saw him try something completely new. My mom, who is a chorus teacher, went into radio and ended
Okay.
up like as a toddler, not
Yeah.
toddler, yeah, as a middle schooler. I remember
Yeah.
her making ads, commercials for people that she had
Mm.
sold, and my brother and I would be voices for her in ads.
Yeah.
So I think starting with my parents being willing to try new things, I think sports, I've played sports my whole life, my dad being a coach. Um, I'm the younger of two boys, so I was failing very early on. My brother let me know that.
Yeah.
Right? Um, just led me to, if you're not learning, and that's really how, especially how my
Mm.
dad approached it, was if you're not learning something, then it's not worth being around. There's a saying that I share with folks who come through our training at Kelly University now, and I share with my kids all the time that my dad used to say, which is when you stop learning, you better start digging.
Mm. Yeah. That's a
And so
really
that
great one.
mindset has
Yeah.
always been, if I fail, at least I tried.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is not try.
Yeah.
And I think in sales, if you're not failing, you're really not doing the job. So as long as I'm don't make a complete fool out of myself, and I'm pretty good at that doing on my own anyway, right? Uh, and even then, I'm okay with it. I think showing that and showing others, we can't be willing to ask people to try new things if we're not willing to try
Yeah.
it first.
So good. It's like you've got to be willing to go out on the front lines. I think that was one of the things like when you've had other sales leaderships and job opportunities and positions since the Xerox Capital Office Solutions days,
Yeah.
like I have. And one of the things I picked up is we went out in the field. I mean, we didn't have the corner office and barked orders and say, you should try this. We led by example. And that was really the fun thing is like, because you could be humble, willing to try that type of leadership, which to me is servant minded leadership, where you're willing to
Mhm.
go first and put yourself out on the line, and others would follow sometimes, not always, but, and then the end result sometimes was a fail, but we didn't chalk it up to like, well, I'm never going to try again. I'm a total failure. It was like, we seem to have fun with that. What's your thought?
I think the one that the industry that we sort of grew up in and cut our teeth in sales is very was very it still should be, and I mean I'm in it still, back in it after many years. It is very person to person.
Mm,
I've always found the thing that I've loved about kind of the copier industry is that I do get to go out and talk to business owners and executives and learn about their business. And I'm always fascinated with, like, how do you do what you do and make money doing that? How
right.
do you solve those problems for people and they pay you?
Yeah.
That is different from what I do, have always done. And so for me, that was the exciting part. Like, let's go out there. I did spend 4 years behind a screen doing this, and it was not as fun.
Yeah. What
Um,
was that? What were you missing in that period?
um, Action is a lot
Mm,
of it. And what I mean by action is I was sitting all day,
mm,
standing some of the day.
yeah.
But the for me, if I feel myself, my energy lagging, or a little bit of the blues, or some sort of depression, for lack of a better word, coming in, I know that if I go out and I move and I walk around and I see people and I talk to people,
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel better.
Right.
Those days I spent yesterday with a new rep of ours down on the coast, and I was in a car for 6 hours yesterday, driving there and back. But the 6 hours I spent with him in the field, I was supercharged on the way home. Right, I knew I had
Yeah.
a 3 hour drive in the dark on the way home, and I was fired up for my day.
Yeah.
And we were all over the place, meeting with people, customers, potential customers, hearing about challenges, solving problems, watching a new rep try something for the first time and see that light bulb go off. That's the stuff that I missed.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize, and I was managing teams, across the globe this way. And even if we got on a team or a Zoom call with somebody, a client, and asked questions, it just wasn't the same as that physical activity of motion getting my day going.
Yeah. Totally agree. You can, and it's so difficult to pick up the personalities, the warmth that you have when you're in the car or you're face to face with somebody. People who settle, I mean, I understand if you're selling nationwide or internationally that you have to do it remotely for the most part. But for those who don't have to do it remotely, they can go visit somebody, have a cup of coffee with them, walk through a proposal with them, stop in and see how they're doing as a company. All of that stuff just builds on the energy and the overall feeling that we get and help them to stay loyal. We get it, but they also get it back, right? There's reciprocity there. Thoughts?
Well, I think, especially when you're selling to the SMB marketplace, which, there's this, I don't know, dream job that people have. I want to go be an enterprise SaaS salesperson. I've done
Mm,
that. And I will
mm-hmm,
tell you, it was boring and
mm,
not a lot of fun.
yeah,
Yeah, you can go kill big deals and you can write giant numbers, but it was way less fun than walking into a small to mid-sized company where I can meet the people who genuinely have pain, solve problems, and
yeah,
and also I might see them at a restaurant next week.
right, yeah,
And I think, there's a lot in our world right now that is distressing, disturbing, and a lot of it comes down to our ability to have conversations with people that aren't debates. And I think one of the ways that we can really have an impact at the micro level that can help eventually grow. And I've got 3 kids, so I think a lot about the legacy that I want to leave to them, is if we can go out and have a positive impact on people who live and work in our community, what better way is there to improve the place we live? And as a local company who lives, as a local, I work for a family-owned business, right? Been around for 80 plus years. To to be able to go meet with people where if we help them make more money, save money, or hire more people, that has an immediate positive impact on the rest of the people in our community. I think if we can get better at listening to each other, understanding people's challenges, and not just yelling at each other or walking in and saying, you will buy this because I said so, and
Right.
really got to how do we connect with people, have genuine conversations, learn about what they do, and figure out how we can help them just for the sake of helping them and not necessarily for reciprocity, but just give to give. That's how we can improve our world at a real micro level. And if everybody starts doing that, now you see macro improvements.
Yeah.
So I know that's probably a little
No,
out
it's
there
great.
and
I mean, it's like I always just say my way of making the world a better place is by being polite, respectful, friendly, bringing a sense of humor, and you just don't know where that ripple effect is going to take place, right? Because it can turn a sour mood into a friendlier mood, and people don't necessarily think that the world is going to end or they're having such a terrible day they can't laugh, and then they're going home with their family, and then
yeah.
they're bringing what could have been a terrible mood to, this guy or this person kind of changed my outlook on the day and said I was, I look great in my dress, or I did a great job of training somebody or whatever, right? So all of those things do make an impact, and I think that ripple effect makes a huge. We lose sight of what is the impact we can make on a day-to-day basis, in my opinion. So good for
Yeah.
you.
Well, I think if we go in thinking I want to sell something or I want to save them money instead of I want to understand what their challenges are and can I help them solve them? And if I can't, one of the again the cool things about what how we started going out and meeting people and learning about their companies is if I'm talking to you and I can't help you with the problem you have, but I was just talking to, Susan down the street who has a company that does, and I can connect those two. Again, now we're just helping our local economy, our local business leaders, the people that I might coach their kids, they might coach my kids. We may see each other at a restaurant, we may see each other at a concert or a game or whatever. And now we're helping our local communities grow stronger, and that's I think again a way that I can feel like I can have a difference on trying to leave the world better than it was.
Yep, totally agree. And then you're leading others, and the way you're treating them also will be the way, possibly in some respects, that they will treat others as well. So that has the trickle down effect, I guess. So
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned something earlier, I don't want to offend anybody, but maybe quota is not that important. And I think we did learn that, right? Quota is a
mm,
number that's important because it helps us keep the lights on and it helps us make sure
yep,
payroll gets paid every 2 weeks. But one of the things we do with our folks and that I took away from that early learning is that quota is not necessarily important to our salespeople. It's really important to the company. It's not really important to the salespeople. What is helping them achieve their goals.
yeah,
And generally speaking, when you talk to somebody, their goals are going to far outpace what our quota is. So we work with people to build like individualized business plans
nice,
that target personal, professional, and career goals that work on an income target and help you work backwards from, if you say you want to make X, not just, I want to go make 100 grand. Okay, perfect.
right,
That's just a number. What does that do for you?
right,
Well, if I made 100 grand, I could pay off my student loans or pay off my credit card or move into a better apartment or put on a new kitchen or buy those Louis Vuitton, whatever it may be,
sure,
right? Then it's a much different conversation. And I remember, we both had a manager at one point whose basic coaching style was the spreadsheet says you're not doing well, do better. See you next week,
yeah,
right?
right. What are you going
And
to
I
do
think
about it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I got to go tell somebody what's your forecast, the one
Mm,
I asked you about an hour ago.
yes,
Right. And I think that person ultimately drove us away from what was a good place versus imagine, I've also had these leaders who said, Kev, you want to take your family to Hawaii and you told me to do that, you need to make an extra 15K. let's go find a way for you to make 15K. I'm getting in the car with you.
Yeah.
That's a
Nice.
very different way to lead and manage than management by spreadsheet.
Yeah. Well, you think of like coaching. We're both fans of the New England Patriots. Hopefully, it doesn't alienate too many listeners. But we've watched over the years one coach who had a phenomenal record, and now we have a different coach who has come in and is a completely different person, different style, and seems to be winning with now the players loving the coach versus the players being totally afraid of the coach. And when I look at you, I see you as a player's coach, so to speak, someone who really gets sales, who's out on the street, willing to do the new things, willing to have the fails, knows the life of living with quota, not stressing out over it, and all of those good things. So I've got to believe when people are working with you, they feel like this love that why would I go anywhere else when I've got this great leader? But things do come up, of course, but that's a big part of it that people don't always necessarily think about. When leadership is great, we assume it's going to be great somewhere else until we start finding out that it isn't, and then it's a real problem. And we go, "Can I go back? Can I come back?"
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of that comes to, Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in the history of football. You can argue that you're wrong, but you can argue it. Um, Definitely was there anyone more prepared than him? Probably not. And I think back to the way management was taught really in schools in the 80s.
Mhm.
And I worked for a gentleman in Europe who really hates the idea of management. The word management comes from the French menage, which means from the hand, right? So it really was the Industrial Revolution. Managers literally said, Harry, you will push that button.
Yep.
And you're not pushing that button fast enough, push it faster. And that's how a lot of managers learn. Belichick, right?
Yeah.
He learned I will build a plan, you will do your job.
Right.
That was the mantra we all said, right, Harry?
Yeah.
Go out and do
Totally.
your job,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you got a guy like Rabel coming in who worked for Belichick, who won three Super Bowls in that model, but then went out and tried that at Tennessee and had mediocre success and had to get fired, sit out for a year, see how, I think he was a consultant, right?
Yeah.
For a year, learn what do players like, go back and listen to them, put himself in their shoes. And he came back this year, and the Patriots are, I mean, having Drake May and a bunch of really solid young guys helps too, and hitting a draft. But,
Yeah.
the talent can only take you so far. But when talent buys in, when you work as a collective, it's incredibly powerful. And I think the way you and I think about leadership is not handing people a fish, it's handing them a fishing pole and showing them 85 different ways they can use it and encouraging them along the way. It's still a fishing pole.
Right. Yeah.
And they still have to use it
Yeah.
themselves. And I'm not going to fish for them and I'm not going to tell them where to go, but I am going to say, here's how I've had success. And I'm open to what you want to hear as well. I've always been a big reader. You got some books behind you, yours, Larry's, great, great books.
Thank you.
Um, you know, uh, I have an English degree, a speech communication minor, so I speak English
Hmm.
real good. But I continue to read again, something that my dad instilled in me,
Yeah.
and the ability, I talk about that a lot in the classes that we do. But I recently had a rep who's with us 4 or 5 months who said, I took something you guys did in training. I was struggling with it. I went to find something else. I found another book. I'm using what it's saying. You should read it.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it. Right. Because, and again, these are the little things that we do or you do that help make someone's life change. So if someone's struggling, I mean, the thing about sales and leadership is that it works completely in the home and in
Yeah.
your relationships, in your personal relationships, and in the community. Uh, so one of the things that you mentioned early on in the green room, so to speak, you talked about the difference between managing and leading. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Well, I think sort of the preface to think of how business schools and the industrial revolution in management was is managers tend to sit in their office, sit behind a desk, and tell people what to do and prescribe without potentially being involved. And I think managers do focus on quota first and focus on metrics and focus on KPIs. And I think that's become a bit of a cancer in the sales space,
Mm,
right? You must make 100 calls, you must send 1,000 emails, you
yeah,
must do 4 demos. Well, maybe, Billy doesn't need to make 100 phone calls. Maybe he can
right.
make 20
Yeah.
because he's going to visit people and getting the results. Everybody works a little differently, and it's not just the way management has been taught was taught previously, and you have a lot of people of a certain group who are like, you will do this, these are the KPIs, and we want to analyze everything. And we go back to the Patriots, and Vrabel does use analytics, right? They went for it on 4th and 5 from their own
Yeah.
45 last night, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. And 15 years ago, would that have ever happened?
Not a chance. 4th and 1 and inside the 50 wouldn't have happened.
Dan Campbell
Right.
went for it on 4th and 2 from on his own like 23.
Yeah.
That never would have happened.
Yeah.
Punt the ball, right?
Right.
But it's both the analytics say that we have a better chance of success, but maybe more importantly, I'm telling my players I believe in you,
Mm,
and together we're going to achieve this. So, I think manager is obvious, and people have heard this a lot, right? It's telling what to do, and I think leadership is side by side showing them what to do, listening to what they want to do, and then helping them set KPIs and goals that help them achieve their metrics, right? Because if
yeah.
we mutually agree that you need to make 100 phone calls a week and you make 75, a manager would go, Harry, you didn't make enough calls, make more calls,
Yeah.
which is really effective coaching and gets people really motivated.
Exactly.
And a
Very
leader is going to
inspiring.
say, Harry, when we sat down last week, you wanted to make 15K to take your family to Hawaii. In order to do that, we needed to get to 7 or 8 appointments this week. You fell 3 short. Let's go look at why. I mean, the thing that stands out to me here, Harry, is you made 75 calls instead of 100. What got in the way? How can I help you be more effective? Is there a reason why you didn't make those 25? Let's talk about it. And hey, you know what? We got 30 minutes. You do 10, I'll do 10. Let's knock them out and try and get you
Yeah.
more appointments because I want you to go to Hawaii,
Nice.
right?
Yeah, I just you brought up some memories. Is like activity is always not my strength for reporting, and I remember my manager early on saying, "You've got one account here that's going, and if that one doesn't sell, you're not going to hit your number." And I said, "Oh well, it's going to sell," and that's the way I walked into my forecast meetings typically with
Yeah.
one or two that I felt were going to happen. I didn't have this 18 different opportunities that were all, for lack of a better word, BS that,
No,
someone
you
just
didn't.
got
You
fluff.
definitely didn't fill up a pipeline report, but you did have 2 or 3 on a folded piece of paper in your back pocket or on the back of a card on your dashboard.
That's for sure. Yes. And I remember telling you, hey, this one closed for 100 grand. You said, oh, Harry, Bullwinkle. What else you got coming in? So yeah, good times.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell me, what are you doing today, and who are you trying to attract into your business?
So I work for a company called Kelly Office Solutions in North Carolina, and we're back. I'm back to my roots. We are copier, print, managed IT at our core. We also do some coffee and water. And for me, our ideal candidate has some sales experience, probably not in the industry.
Mm,
But if they've got industry experience, that's great. But what we're really looking for is people who are driven to work, want to be a part of a team, but also want to and are capable of self-motivation,
mm,
doing it on their own. So I get asked that a lot, like in
yeah.
interviews. What are you looking for this role? And North Carolina State is about a half a mile up the road, so if this appeals to the wolf pack folks out there. But I'm
Mm,
looking for a lone wolf that wants to hunt with a pack.
mm,
So I don't want to have to say, go make calls.
right.
What I do want to say is let's work with you on a plan to help you achieve your goals. I guarantee there's going to be activity involved because last time I checked, the phone's not ringing for people looking to buy copiers today.
Yeah.
But I do know that if we go out and we get in front of people and we make phone calls and we send emails and we create experiences with whatever that may be, whether that's, using some of Dale and the sales rebellion stuff like the crumpled letters and the trash
Hmm.
cans. And we use Pop Rocks, we use Kit Kats, we use all sorts of different things to have fun and try and create an environment of activity and fun. I sort of jokingly say that we're working to make prospecting great again, that it's not this dirty word. And then if we can help people have fun, create experiences, genuinely listen, we're going to help you be successful. And formula I've always believed to is attitude plus activity plus skills equals results. As a person, it's your responsibility to bring activity because I can't make you want to go do stuff. If I have to make you go do stuff, this isn't going to work out. If you bring great attitude, if you bring, I was in a presentation in a law group that I'm part of, an association I'm part of, and one of their speakers said, "Leaders bring the weather." That's really resonated with me. Like if you bring sun everywhere you go, right? And you mentioned it. You can change somebody's day. You can make that
Hmm.
receptionist, who's having the worst day ever, maybe have an experience that made them laugh and chuckle and you're memorable. If you bring the weather, you do the work. It's our job to provide the skills. So we recently launched something we call Kelly University that myself and my colleague Brad are really passionate about, and it's really bringing those skills. We do basically 3 weeks of training spread out over 3 months.
Hmm.
And so we hire people, we have them work with their managers for the first couple weeks, experience a little what we do. Then we bring them back in and we really teach them how to make effective cold calls and a bunch of different ways to do it. Look, if the crumpled letter in the trash can doesn't feel comfortable for you, I'm going to ask you to try it. And if it doesn't work for you, that's cool. We're not going to make you do it.
Right.
Um, we are going to help you prospect. Knocking on doors is a key piece of sales, particularly for the organizations that we target, that SMB space, that community. And I think the easiest way to show up that show that you're a local company is to show up. So we help people. How do you not just, how do I do it? How do I conduct one? But who do I go look at? How do I
Right.
build a plan? How do I build a day? Right? We do the same thing around phone calls. We do the same thing around LinkedIn and emails and video messaging and text messaging. I believe that, it's really the prospecting circle of life now. You have to meet
Yeah.
people where they are and you have to do all of it. And AI helps, like AI helps you provide great research and great talk tracks. But if you're relying on AI to help you get a conversation with a human, just sign up to be a battery because that's
Right.
what you're gonna, right? Then I don't need you. If you're letting the bots do all the work for you, I probably don't need you.
Yeah, totally. I love it. It's there's so many good things that you mentioned there. And to me, this is such a huge opportunity. I hear people all the time who are in sales complaining that the owner gets to take time off. Well, they don't understand that the owner put in the time more so than we would ever imagine in sales, right? Because we cut out in the afternoon. When you're building a business, it's 24/7 and you're, hardly sleeping at night because you're trying to hit payroll, tons of
Yeah.
challenges, right? So
Mhm.
now you have, in my view, is like in an opportunity in a company like yours where you have support, you have training, you have a building, you have technology to share. All you have to do is go out and do the steps, right? The steps of, and most younger people these days, they're pretty good at social media. I mean, this is
Yeah.
not foreign. So, compared to the way it was years ago, where we were dialing for dollars or knocking on doors. I did this before email even really started, right? So,
Snail mail, baby.
yeah, exactly. I had to
Yep.
send out letters. Yeah. Oh, thanks for that memory.
Letters to Vito.
Yes, there you go. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. But yeah, so it's like, someone good in sales today in your industry can make well over six figures. Am I right?
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
so instead of going out and saying, well, maybe if I got a franchise or maybe I'll get lucky and win the lottery, there's a great in between. And that in between is if you're an outgoing person or a person that wants to help people. It doesn't even have to be completely outgoing, but if a person who wants to help people, doesn't mind speaking to strangers, doesn't mind learning, and working hard at it and not giving up, and it's just like, this is like sports, right? It's like building your own empires. Like, so many things that are good for your character are great for salespeople. So highly encourage
Yeah.
them to speak to you about it.
And I think, back when we were getting started, like we wanted to find a job and stay there forever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that that is my expectation or should be the expectation of the people that are coming to work. I see my job as really simple. It's to help the people that we bring in to join Team Kelly. And by the way, this is not a family. Okay, we're a family-owned business. This is not a family because you don't get to choose your family. And we all got that aunt or uncle or cousin that when they come to Thanksgiving, we're like, oh man,
Hey,
right?
leave me out of this. Come
Yeah,
on now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The Uncle
right?
Harry.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But you get to choose where you go to work. And so I'm a big fan of, we're Team Kelly because if you decide you want to become a free agent and you've earned that right, it's not our job to stop you. I hope we've
Right.
done everything we can and you're incredibly successful and you want to stay with Team Kelly forever. But I also hope that you've gotten to a point in your career where you are ready to maybe go take a leadership role or start a company or move for whatever reason it may be. And I'm going to encourage that. I want you to be able to feel comfortable leaving. Yeah, it may hurt. But if we've done everything we've done, and we've helped you grow to achieve your goals, and that goal is in 5 years, I want to start my own business. Great. That's really it. What I hope is that, if you decided to leave us, you'd say great things about us and you'd refer people to us and you'd help us hire new people. But again, the way it's this sort of maybe a cheesy mentality, but if I can help these people that I support achieve their goals, whatever they may be, and they decide to leave, all I've done is help them achieve their goals, and then their family can have a better life, and their kids can have a better life. And again, at that micro level, we can have a macro effect.
Yeah, totally. It's such a great approach. A little bit different from the way we were brought up in the business. So I love the fact that you've been able to keep making these adjustments, keep learning, have this very, you know, servant minded approach to helping the world be a better place, helping others, is all great. So, if Kevin, where can people find more of you? And I've got to encourage people in that North Carolina area, if you're looking to make a difference and have some fun along the way and make some good money, um, you might want to have a conversation with Kevin because he definitely knows his stuff. He will support you and he will have some fun along the way. And I'm speaking from experience. So, where can people find more of you, Kevin?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Kevin Hoverman, Hoverman. You can email me. All my contact info is on LinkedIn. Um, that's the best place to go find me. KellyOfficeSolutions.com is the company. And we are currently hiring in all of our marketplaces, and we do cover all 100 counties of North Carolina. So if you're in the Carolinas and looking to join a great team, and I'm blessed to work with some incredible folks. We've got a great group of sales directors and we all have the same approach that let's help you achieve your goals. I will say we will achieve our goals. So none of it matters without results. I think we
Right.
learned that early on. That is still true. If you don't perform, you don't get an opportunity at leadership and management roles. So the first thing is let's go perform. And we need to continue to perform and continue to grow. And we want to grow across North Carolina. We want to grow into South Carolina. We want to grow into Virginia, and eventually we want to paint the world Kelly green. So
Nice.
love to have you come join us for that.
All right. Well, it's been a real blast reconnecting with you again, Kevin, and having this conversation. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bullwinkle.
Okay. Talk soon.
Thanks, here. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to Sales Made Easy. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Also, you're invited to join the Facebook group Sales Training Selling with Dignity. Serve first, the selling will follow.